Never hurt a Libra or karma will make you pay. But what if the karma of hurting a Libra didn't work the way you imagine? There's no shouting, there's no confrontation, there's no dramatic moment where Libra announces that now it's going to collect. What happens is much more silent than that, and because it's silent, it's invisible until it's no longer possible to ignore. Most people who hurt a Libra don't realize they crossed a line. Not because Libra hid it, but because Libra responded with such elegance that it seemed like everything was fine. And that everything was fine was the beginning of something that person will eventually fully understand. By the end of this video, you'll see the real mechanism, not as a promise of punishment, as a description of a law that operates independently of any intention, and that Libra, more than any other sign, carries as part of its very structure. And if you're a Libra, what you're about to discover here will change the way you see your own nature forever. Anyone who spends enough time with a Libra notices something difficult to articulate, a kind of field around them, not protection in the literal sense, more like a resonance. As if Libra's presence adjusts the emotional tone of an environment without anyone asking. You know that person who walks into a room and the temperature changes, not because they're being dramatic, not because they're imposing their will, but because they carry a frequency that others, without realizing it, begin to tune into. That's Libra. That's Venus, in constant, silent motion. And when that frequency is deliberately disturbed, when someone decides, consciously or not, to use Libra's gentleness as a space for disregard, for betrayal, for calculated indifference, something becomes unbalanced. Not just in the Libran, in the entire field around them. Libra is not passive. That's the biggest myth about the sign. Libra is strategic. They have an emotional memory that functions like a precise archive, every situation catalogued, every intention evaluated, every pattern recorded with a clarity that even Librans themselves sometimes underestimate. What seems like infinite generosity is, in fact, a renewed choice. A decision that Libra makes consciously, day after day, to continue offering the best, because they believe in the potential of connections, because they know instinctively the real cost of breaking one. Libra doesn't shout because it has already processed, it has already catalogued. This silent archive is what most will never see until it's too late to change what has been recorded there. But there is a moment, silent, unannounced, without drama, when Libra closes the file. And the question that remains is, what happens after this file closes? It was while searching for answers to this that I found this digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose. It's not a book about predictions. It's not about what will happen to you. It's about understanding the inner workings of your sign, the structure that operates beneath visible behaviors, including that balancing mechanism that Libra carries at the center of its being. For a Libra, understanding this mechanism isn't curiosity. It's essential self-knowledge. It's the difference between living by reacting to the disturbances others cause and living from an inner clarity that no external action can destabilize. You are in that moment right now, still processing what has just been said, still feeling that strange mix of recognition and discomfort that happens when someone accurately describes something you've always known but never had the words to name. That's exactly the state in which this book makes the most sense, not tomorrow. Now, while the perception is still active and the insight is still fresh, the link is in the first pinned comment. But be aware, this content may be taken down. Click now and download your copy. And in the comments, tell me, has there ever been someone in your life that you hurt without realizing it, and then felt the consequences in a way you couldn't explain? What changed first? The pain of Libra has its own geometry. It's not an explosion. It's not an immediate collapse. It's more like a building experiencing an internal earthquake. The facade remains intact, the windows don't crack, the structure continues to stand. But inside, at the foundation level, everything has been redistributed. Those on the outside don't realize it. They keep waiting for Libra to react the way other people reacted, with confrontation, with visible crying, with direct accusation. And since none of that happens, they conclude that Libra is fine, that it's over, that it wasn't so serious after all. But Libra is doing something far more precise than reacting. It's recalculating. Every connection has weight. Each person Libra chooses to keep close represents an investment of energy, of attention, of genuine care. And when one of these connections demonstrates that the investment will not be honored, Libra doesn't cut the cord all at once. That would be impulsive. That wouldn't be Libra. Libra redistributes, slowly, systematically, with the same elegance with which it built. You won't know when the decision was made. There won't be a set day, a closing conversation, a definitive statement. It will be subtle, a different energy level in the interactions, a presence that will become a little scarcer, an availability that will gradually cease to be unconditional. And here's what's truly unsettling, because this silent redistribution isn't just an emotional shift for Libra. It's a shift in the field, in what flows between the two people. Libra was, without you realizing it, a source of balance, of perspective, of a quality of presence that has immense value and is almost impossible to replace. When that source begins to dry up, the atmosphere changes, sometimes so subtly that you can't name what's different. You just feel that something has changed, that something that was there is no longer there. And the question that begins to emerge, on a level that most people don't consciously admit, is, what exactly was Libra doing? And I didn't even know I was receiving it? There is a type of retreat that seems passive, but is, in fact, the most active moment of the entire process. When Libra withdraws, it's not running away, it's repositioning. And this repositioning has a consequence that most people will only understand months later, sometimes years. Imagine a balanced scale, the two trays level. Now imagine that one of the trays, the one Libra always kept stable with its energy, its presence, its willingness to balance, simply stops. The hand that held it withdraws. Not violently, it simply ceases to be there. What happens? The system reorganizes itself, not because someone ordered it, not because there was punishment, simply because the existing balance was maintained by a real presence. And without it, the system shows its true colors when it lacks support. This is the karma of hurting Libra. It's not a curse sent, it's not a wish of harm, it's the absence of a good you didn't even know you had. The Libra doesn't need to do anything. They don't need to wish you the worst. They don't even need to think about you. The balance corrects itself, the field reorganizes itself, and the space that Libra's presence occupied begins to reveal, through their absence, how real it was. This is the moment most people associate with karma, when life starts to seem a little harder for no obvious reason, when things that were going well begin to require more effort, when that lightness that existed starts to become a burden. And you won't be able to connect the dots immediately, because karma doesn't operate with clear signals. It operates through accumulation, through the sum of small absences that individually seem insignificant, but which together form a pattern that you will eventually recognize. This mechanism, Libra's retreat as an activation of cosmic balance, is one of the most profound angles addressed in the digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose. The book shows Librans how to transform retreat into reconnection with their own center, without losing their essence, without succumbing to resentment. For those who have hurt others and now feel the field shifting, the book offers an understanding that no excuse can replace. What exactly was disturbed, and what is still possible to do with this clarity. This type of knowledge has real value. And it may disappear without warning. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. There is a very common misconception about what karma means. Karma is not cosmic vengeance. Karma is not the universe choosing to punish someone because they deserved it. Karma is balance. It is the simplest and most relentless law that exists, not because it is cruel, but because it is mathematics. Cause and effect, action and consequence. What you set in motion keeps in motion. Libra doesn't wish you harm. This needs to be stated clearly. When Libra withdraws, it's not building up an intention to retaliate. It's simply stopping putting energy in a direction that has proven undeserving. And this is where many people misunderstand. You don't need Libra's intention to feel the effect. Gravity doesn't want you to fall. Gravity simply exists. And if you jump from a high place, the consequences don't depend on what gravity wants. They depend on the law. Hurting a Libra works like this. Not because Libra is special in the sense of being powerful or magical, but because Libra energetically represents the principle of balance in the zodiac. When you deliberately disturb this balance, when you take what Libra offered without reciprocating, when you use Libra's peace as a space for your own imbalances, you are not just hurting a person. You are throwing a system out of balance, a system that, by its very nature, will correct itself. And the correction doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like a natural consequence. Sometimes it's the relationship that starts to falter. Sometimes it's the career that encounters an obstacle where there was once a path. Sometimes it's simply a growing feeling that something important has been lost, and you don't know exactly what. Because what was lost wasn't visible while it was present. It was Libra's silent contribution to the energy field around you. And energy fields only reveal how real they were when they cease to exist. That's the law, not of Libra, of the universe. And Libra, simply by virtue of being who it is, operates as the most direct expression of that law, more so than any other sign of the zodiac. Most people only realize the value of something when it's no longer there. With Libra, this happens in a particularly disconcerting way, because what Libra offered rarely had a name. It wasn't a specific favor, it wasn't a tangible gift. It was a quality of presence, a stability, a perspective, a balance that settled around Libra like temperature around a flame. And when that presence begins to withdraw, the first feeling isn't one of loss. It's one of strangeness. Something is different, but you can't name what it is. The environments where Libra was seem a little heavier. Conversations seem a little less fluid. Decisions that you once made more easily now require an effort you can't explain. Libra didn't create these problems. They already existed. What Libra did, without anyone asking, without anyone acknowledging it, was to balance what was unbalanced, to be the invisible counterweight of a structure that depended on it to function well. Imagine a building with a support beam that no one sees because it's embedded in the walls. The structure remains standing. The roof doesn't collapse. People move around without thinking about the beam, until the beam is removed. Then slowly, the structure begins to show signs. A crack here, a door that doesn't close properly there, an unevenness in the floor that wasn't there before. No one associates these signs with the beam that was removed. Each problem seems isolated, unconnected, but the cause is the same. This is what happens when Libra withdraws from the life of someone who has hurt them. The absence is not announced. It settles in. Gradually, systematically, with the same elegance with which Libra has always operated. And there is a specific moment, a moment that most people remember with unsettling clarity, when the absence ceases to be strange and becomes a real burden. A burden that no replacement can completely eliminate. This nameless void created by Libra's absence, this growing, irreplaceable weight, is precisely what the digital book, The Divine Path, that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose, examines with rare depth. For Librans, the book confirms that their absence is not abandonment, it's elegant self-preservation. For those on the other side, feeling the void grow, it's the first real opportunity to understand what has been disturbed before the erosion becomes irreversible. A knowledge that changes the perspective on everything. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. There is no catalogue of karma. You don't have a list of consequences organized by type of hurt. What exists are patterns, recognizable ways in which the imbalance caused tends to manifest in the life of the one who disturbed Libra's field. And what repeats itself most often is a specific form of erosion, not immediate collapse, erosion. Like a dripping tap in a bucket, nobody notices the first drip, nobody notices the 10th, but there comes a point when you look at the ground and it's flooded, and you can't tell exactly when the water started rising. The relationships this person maintains begin to show a pattern of disconnection, not all at once, but there is a progression, a sequence of situations in which what should flow smoothly begins to offer resistance, as if the universe were gently adjusting the trajectory so that the things that need to be corrected are corrected. Sometimes karma manifests as gradual isolation. That support network that seemed solid silently becomes less reliable. The people who were once available begin to have their own demands. The support that existed unconditionally starts to become transactional. Sometimes it appears as painful clarity. That moment when you look at a situation and realize, with a clarity you didn't choose, that what you built is less solid than you imagined. That what had value was precisely what you failed to preserve. Sometimes it's simpler than that. Sometimes it's just the persistent feeling that something is missing, that there's a gap that no replacement has filled, that the space where Libra was, with everything Libra carried, has become empty in a way that time doesn't completely resolve. And then a question arises, not from Libra, from you, silent, intimate, with no easy answer. Is there still time to change this? The question of whether there's still time is exactly what the digital book, The Divine Path, that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose, answers with genuine honesty, not with easy promises, with clarity about what can be worked on internally, regardless of what has already happened. For Librans, the book shows how to protect their inner field without losing the generosity that is their most genuine essence. A tool for those who are ready to move beyond erosion and build upon something more solid. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. There is a law that governs the ocean that has nothing to do with mysticism and everything to do with inevitability. A mare sempre volta. Not because the ocean decided, not because anyone asked, because that's the nature of the system. The coastline doesn't interfere. The ocean doesn't consult anyone. The tide comes and goes because that's what it does, because that's what the system is. Libra is like that. Not as punishment, not as a threat, as nature. What disturbs Libra's balance doesn't remain disturbed forever. The universe has a much deeper interest in harmony than in its momentary deviations. And Libra, as the most complete expression of this interest, carries within itself the mechanism of return, not as revenge, but as restoration. What this video aimed to show wasn't a warning. It wasn't a veiled threat about what happens to those who hurt Libra. It was something more truthful than that, a description of the real mechanics of a sign that most people understand superficially, but few understand fundamentally. Libra is not the sign of harmony because it likes everything easy. It is the sign of harmony because it understands from a place that goes beyond reason, that balance is the most real condition of everything. That harmony is not the absence of conflict. It is the force that operates after the conflict passes and things return to their rightful place. And if you are a Libra, if you are listening to this and recognize these patterns in yourself, the silent archive, the retreat that few notice, the precise memory, the gentleness that is not weakness but a renewed choice, I want you to take one thing away from this conversation. Your nature is not a burden, it is intelligence. The universe did not give you this connection to balance as cruelty. It gave it to you as an instrument, as a way to operate in the world in a way that very few can, with precision, with elegance, with a strength that doesn't need noise to be real. Hurting a Libra never comes without consequences. Not because Libras are vengeful, but because the universe simply doesn't leave an unbalanced scale forever. That's the oldest law there is. It has no exceptions, and it doesn't need help to function. The scale always returns to the center, always.